I'm married, no kids, and I live in a 3-bedroom house. 1 bedroom is where we sleep, 1 is my YouTube studio, and the last room is a mess. This room has changed so much because as my first place ever, living outside of my parents' place, it's the first time I ever really needed to learn to manage or organize a large space that's solely mine. Do you remember the last time I talked about this room? Literally last year? Yeah, it's changed a lot since then. So what does this room need to be now? My wife is now the main editor of this channel, but everyone keeps commenting how dainty and pale my hands look and how long my nails are sometimes. I hate to break it to you, but those aren't my hands. My skin is pretty tan and I got hairy knuckles. Those are my wife's hands. But since she's editing, she needs a dedicated workplace or she'll report me to HR, which is me. Then we need space to work out, so an open area to stretch and potentially put exercise equipment. Then it needs to be a place where my wife can relax. Let's be honest here, the YouTube space is uniquely mine, and it's not really a space that she impedes on unless it's to shoot some B-roll. And so she doesn't really have a space that she can get away from everyone. So it just seems fair for her to have her own space like that. It still needs to be functional as a guest bedroom if absolutely necessary, or if one of us got sick with something. And lastly, it's gotta be filled with tech, or else this isn't a Jimmy Tries World video, right? So when you look at all of our wants, you probably realize that's a lot of wants for this small 10 by 13 foot room. How is it gonna fit everything that's typical for all these different tasks? Here's what we did. We already had a desk set up for her, which I talk about back in that now-year-old video, so I won't go into detail too much on that. It hasn't really changed much, and it's as pink as ever. I personally don't mind it, but luckily you could replicate a similar setup in a different color altogether if that's just too girly for you. The main changes to it since we last looked at this is that we added a 27-inch 4K monitor to help her multitask and to have more workspace while editing. Because her color scheme revolves a lot around pink, white, and natural wood tones, you know how difficult it is to find accessories that match your color scheme specifically and what would still work with your setup. So you might spend hours searching for a solution that just might not exist. So why not make your own things that fit perfectly, like through 3D printing, and through today's sponsor, Bamboo Lab and their A1 3D printer. Their A1 3D printer is a nice entry-level printer that is going to help us get the job done. All you need is to have the right color and type of filament you want to create your prints, and then you can get off to printing. Okay, I'll be honest here, this is the first time in my life I have tried 3D printing. So it's a little scary because, I mean, I've had a bad time with traditional 2D printers, right? That might translate to 3D. But Bamboo Lab makes it easy through their Maker World platform, where other Bamboo Lab owners post their own 3D prints in downloadable files. This way, if you're uncomfortable designing your own 3D prints, you can download prints other people created, give them a nice like, and get to printing. It's that easy. So I've been printing quite a few items to go into this flexible home office and in my own YouTube studio, like storage trays, screwdriver holders for the pegboard, and headphone holders. It's amazingly useful, and I've already started planning out how I'm going to organize my own YouTube tool chest once we're done with this room. So if you're interested in the Bamboo Lab A1 3D printer to print many of the different things that you're about to see in this video, then check out the link in the video description below, and thanks to Bamboo Lab for sponsoring this portion of the video. But for this room specifically, I began printing storage trays and SD card holders for more organization on the desk. For the pegboard, I printed a keyboard holder, Xbox game controller holder, and sticky note holders. And to top it off, organizational tools. I 3D printed hangers that make hanging backpacks easier in the closet, saving up some space while fitting her color scheme. The coolest thing about 3D printing is just being able to control exactly what color you want. So in this case, they were all mostly pink to match this vibe. You might have also noticed this large queen-sized bed in this room. Well, we took it out because it was taking up way too much space. And once it was removed, it was so liberating. There's so much space in this room now to stretch and just lay on the floor if you want to. But that lasted for just about a month. It only took one of us getting sick to realize maybe it was a bad idea to remove the only other bed. Well, we debated different ideas to bring it back while still keeping our newfound love for extra space. Like maybe a Murphy bed, a day bed, a Japanese style roll-out futon, an air mattress when guests are over. None of those solutions seemed like it would fit until we found this koala sofa bed. Okay, I'm a relatively big dude, so most sofa beds are uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable as sofas and are a pain to set up as a bed and put away. This sofa bed by Koala is pretty good as a sofa, but the best part is rolling out the tray underneath and quickly turning it into a comfortable queen-sized bed that actually feels like a bed instead of laying on a mattress on sticks like regular sofa beds do. This way we get all the benefits of a sofa and a comfortable bed with minimal compromises. It's also neat that the back of this sofa bed houses hidden storage where I can route cables up for chargers so that they can be used as nightstands for guests to charge their devices like their phone, iPad, laptop, whatever. And when I am sick with like a cold or a flu, it's a nice place to leave a tissue box, water, medicine, whatever. This is easily our favorite decision because it ended up saving us so much space when we don't want a bed and still lets us have the bed when we absolutely need it. From there, we added an exercise bike. I'll be upfront and honest. I've gained a little bit of weight since moving into this house. I don't like that fact, but it is what it is. It's the honest truth. I'm in no way in denial of that fact, and I've been forcing myself, even after a long day, to at least try and get on this bike or do some level exercise because my day job and YouTube doesn't require a lot of moving around, and sometimes it is very difficult to find the motivation to get on the bike. I'm still gonna try though, but it's also nice being able to just jump on this bike here and still be able to watch TV while working out. From there, we realized, wow, she accumulates a lot of stuff, and it just ends up in the closet in a pile that we ignore until it stacks too high. So after a quick trip to IKEA and several hours of me putting it all together, we now have cabinets that hide all of the stuff that we've accumulated and to keep all the bedding for the sofa bed neatly organized. This Tonstad cabinet matches perfectly with the overall look of this room. This thing is pretty solid and hefty and looks great. We replaced the doorknobs since the default ones looked cheap with these other ones from this super fancy high-class home improvement studio that you may have heard of, named Lowe's. Obviously, this is a tech channel though, so let's talk about tech. I'm a firm believer that in a home environment, your tech should blend into your home and not take away from it. So hide cables as much as possible by mounting them under your desk, hiding them in cabinets, or making things look like they belong where they are while still being as usable as possible. So above these cabinets, we have mounted an older version of the 50-inch Samsung Frame TV. These TVs sit flush against the wall to emulate a picture frame and have a box that's connected to them through this thin fiber optic cable that you can hide somewhere else. For a TV with comparable picture quality, you're definitely paying a pretty tax for the Samsung Frame. But if that's what you're looking for, this is the TV. Newer versions of this TV are thinner and with matte displays, just in case you were curious and looking them up. I'm not a huge fan of the Samsung operating systems that come on these TVs, and the integrated apps and operating system are just too slow and kind of clunky to me. So instead, I opted to add an Apple TV 4K to integrate with my smart home and to watch my content. To hide the cables associated with the TV, like Ethernet cables, HDMI cables, and power, they're all housed inside one of these cabinets so that they're easily accessible instead of behind the cabinets, since that would make it difficult to plug things into it once you decided to change things out. So all the different ugly tech that you don't want to see are in these cabinets and hidden away from the world. The Frame's speakers aren't great, but to be fair, most TVs today don't have great speakers. So we went with the Sonos Beam soundbar with two Sonos Ones as rear speakers. The Beam alone sounds alright, but by adding these Sonos One rear speakers, it really enhances the experience and makes this sofa bed fantastic for movie nights when we just want to kick back and enjoy a nice movie. The neat thing about Sonos products, even though they are going through some issues that they have to resolve right now, is that it's fully modular, so you could use this soundbar separately from their rear speakers and use their rear speakers as standard smart home speakers that you can just place anywhere in your home. Or you can use them all together for a more enriched full sound. From there, I installed some hue lights throughout this room, like a light strip behind the bookcase and smart dimmable bulbs in each of the lamps in the room. We tried to get a light source somewhere in each corner of the room for as even lighting as possible. With these hue lights installed, the room gets bright, but maybe too bright at night. If all of your lights are Hue, you can get this nice little Hue remote to control the lighting throughout the room with just a click of a button. From there, you can use the adhesive on the back of the plate that comes with this remote to mount it anywhere you want. Because you probably want the most control close to where you'll be, we place the remote neatly against the bookcase for access from the sofa. That way, even if the sofa is in bed form, you can still adjust the lights or just use voice commands from the Apple TV. There's also a smart switch for the ceiling fan and the blinds, which can all be controlled through my phone or through voice assistant, which just makes existing in and controlling the space so easy. I'm big into automating my home with timed automations, but since this is a guest space, we didn't want to put in any crazy smart home automations like making the lights automatically turn off or on, or set the blinds to just open or close during certain times of the day. Because guests will not know how to control the intricacies of our smart home. So we're saving them the headache. They'll just want to know how to turn things on and off, and light switches and labeled buttons work best because everyone, hopefully everyone, knows how to read. So we thought this was much simpler and still gives us the control when we're using it as a chill space, workout room, or office space while still being super convenient for any guests that happen to stay over. Alright, to finish up this office space, we need accessories to make the space feel lived in. And my wife had no problems with finding the right items. She added some faux plants, plushies, and some figures of the things that she just enjoys. I 3D printed some organization tools like hangers that can hold backpacks and jackets, a nice lamp, and even a vase for whenever my wife wants to have some live flowers alongside all the faux ones throughout the room. Although she just ended up putting fake plants into there anyway. So with that, the room is done. But how are we using this room in its completed state? Normally the sofa is in sofa mode and we just chill on the couch and watch TV. If one of us is on the bike, the TV is still viewable during the workout, and 3D printing things has made organizing and accessorizing so much easier and convenient. The desk setup is connected to my NAS through a 10 gigabit Ethernet connection where all the Jimmy Tries World projects are stored for quick and easy access to start editing videos. Then whenever guests are over or one of us gets sick and can't be around the other one, we switch the sofa into bed mode where we just use queen size sheets. When we're done with the bed, we can just fold it back up and position it back as a sofa. I can control basically everything in this room with my phone, the Apple TV remote, the Philips Hue remote, or on the Stream Deck that's sitting right on the desk. So wherever I am in the space or outside of it, I can make sure it's in the perfect state for that moment, just like that. Okay, so does this room end up meeting our expectations? Did it solve all of the problems that we had? Honestly, I thought this project would end up in a complete disaster because we wanted to do so many different things with it. But because the sofa bed is just so versatile, it actually made trying to accomplish everything else, like making it a home gym, chill space, guest room, and office, all feasible in such a tiny space. So yeah, I do think it ended up pretty nice and much better than we could have hoped. I guess the only downside is, if this room is being used for any one of those different functions, it's a little hard for it to be used as anything else for the time being. But that was a compromise that we 100% knew going into this. Anyway, what do you personally think? Did this versatile space end up all right? Are we trying to do too much in this space? What did you like that we ended up doing? And what would you have done differently? I'd love to hear how we could have maximized this space even more. Let me know down in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and well, I'll see you all next time. Bye.